The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 14 is over, but we're just getting started here on The Walking Dead Live. And now, here are the two guys who are not ready for Stage 2. I'm Rob Cesternino. Here's Josh Wigler. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. I've got something in my eye.
Did you throw up on your glasses?
Oh, blah! Oh, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
My stupid glasses. Yeah.
Boy. Was not expecting this tonight. What a turn of events.
Too far, Walking Dead. That is twice as far as you were supposed to go. That is also the name of your episode title.
It was twice as far. We should don't go on the railroad tracks. Do not go on the tracks. Daryl,
Daryl said it. He's like, there's a reason why I don't go on the tracks, and that's because bad things happen there.
Yeah, as Carol said it, you were right. You were right. Don't go on the tracks.
You called it. You called it.
Oh, boy. Really interesting episode tonight. I got to be honest, I thought it was a little slow, sort of getting like, boy, this is a night of, are we just seeing the same exact thing happening with two different groups of people? And I did not see that twist coming at the end of the episode.
Yeah, neither did Denise.
Neither did Denise, and I think The Walking Dead has continued its run here of a really strong back half of this season, and the stage is set here in these final two episodes. Seems like an ominous, people are getting very comfortable in Alexandria, and I think we repeat this cycle on Walking Dead of, we go out on the road, we sort of become very primal, very instinctual,
right,
and, lean, mean fighting machines, and then we start to settle
turtles.
down. Get fat and happy, and bad things start to happen.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I was scratching my head over that first scene, over the cold open when it started repeating itself. I was like, is something wrong with my television?
Groundhog Day.
Is it a glitch? Yeah, where's Bill Murray?
Where's Ned Ryerson?
It's me, Ned. Ned. It was weird, and I think the point that's driven home as the episode progresses, it's like for some of these people, it's just like SSDD, same shit, different day, and it's just starting to kind of play out over and over again, and we're certainly getting that now, where every time there is this lull in the action, every time there is a moment of peace, every time there's a second of silence, they are suddenly thrust back into the crap. And it came with force tonight. It was, this big threat is back, and let's see how we handle it. And there's some other balls up in the air that are interesting to juggle. And I did not mean that as a Eugene joke.
All right. Well, very excited to be back with you guys tonight live and to talk about a very interesting episode. Of course, we're going to take your feedback as well during the show. Hashtag PS Recaps also on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. And then this is just the beginning of The Walking Dead for the week here with us, because soon, Josh will get into talking about the comic book implications of tonight's episode with Jessica Leese, and there are a few things that I'm sure you guys will dig into.
Absolutely. We will sink our teeth into the comic books in the Walking Dead Book Club, which took a break last week as I was traveling. Not a ton to chew on last week anyway. Lots to chew on this week. I'm really not meaning to make the joke, but you kind of just can't help yourself. But there was a lot that happened in this episode in particular that is it's going to be worth having a discussion that we won't dive into too much here on the live show tonight, but I'm sure we'll touch on it at least briefly.
And then, of course, we'll get into the feedback as well. I thought we had a really interesting feedback discussion, especially as it pertains to Carol. And I think that we'll probably talk about a lot of the things that came up in that conversation here tonight as we explore why Carol felt the need to go back on the road once again. So let's get into this, Josh. Let's start with Denise here, because I think that's probably the top story at this hour. Denise was a character. We really got to know her here in Season 6. I don't remember if she was one of the people that we originally met back in Season 5, or if she sort of came to prominence here in Season 6. Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, I want to say she was in Season 5, but maybe that's not right. I'll do some Googling real quick here, but I'm pretty sure that she showed up. No, I think she's just a Season 6 character.
Yeah.
She just showed up in Season 6 of the show. It feels like we knew her for so long, though. She felt like a character that we had, really gotten to know and really gotten to experience a little bit. And, she had her big story with the wolf during the mid-season finale and the mid-season premiere. She felt like she was a keeper. It was a real shock to see her go. Her first episode was JSS. So that's when we met her to begin with.
Okay. And yeah, you're right. I think she really did feel like that out of the people we met in Alexandria, I think that she was probably the most prominent character of these people.
Yeah.
Maybe outside of Aaron, of these, of these characters.
And probably even more than Aaron recently, at least.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron has kind of been Purple Aaron, and, Denise had actually been a bit of a character in the show. She has her brave moment where she stitches up Carl. She gets to the rescue on Carl. Aaron's been quiet. I feel like Denise has really been a big character on the show this season.
I mean, she had a whole cliffhanger in the mid-season finale, where she was abducted by the wolf, and she had the love story going on with Tara. And so here she is. She wants to go out on her first run. Very parallel story to Eugene tonight, where you have the two people who really belong behind those walls at Alexandria. Both of them want to venture outside. Both of them want to, again, bite off more than they can chew.
You can't help it.
In terms of what they want to do, they both have an experience where they say, "Hey, I got this walker. Let me kill this walker." It goes poorly for both of them, and they end up, Denise actually needs less help than Eugene. But we end up with really, you kind of just you play the game of what if, where if Denise did not decide to go back for that soda in the car, maybe what might have happened.
You know what? The lady is dead. Can we be respectful and call it Pop in her honor?
Okay, sure. Well, before she got popped.
Yeah. Can you explain to me how she got popped? Because I've got a bone to pick with Verizon Fios, which crapped out on me during the scene where Denise got shot, and I had to learn from Twitter and from seeing her body on the ground that Denise had died. But the actual moment of impact, I missed. It just my video feed froze up. Thank you, Fios. Very good stuff. Can you talk me through what happened there, because I missed it?
Yeah, so after she decided to go into, she needed to get the cooler. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so she needed to get the
cooler. Here's where it stopped for me. She was talking to Daryl. She was talking to Rosita and basically saying, I like you, Daryl. You're a tough guy, and you remind me of a courageous dude. You're like my brother. And Rosita, you're pretty cool, too. And then the video feed crapped out, and the next thing I knew, everyone was surrounded, and she was dead.
Yeah, it's debatable to me whether or not she was saying that the reason why she chose them was that she was trying to be matchmaker for them. I wasn't sure if that's exactly where she was going with that. She's like, there's a reason why I picked you, and there's a reason why I picked you. And so she talks about how
the love doctor.
Yeah, the love doctor, and she talked about how she has training in all of this. And what's really stupid is that she's scared about this, but what she really is, scared about is telling Tara that she loves her. That's what she should have been talking about. Why was she afraid to do that? And so she's, the biggest mistake, or the regret is like she's coming out here and facing her crap, and she says, if you don't wake up and face your fears, and then that's the moment where she ends up getting shot from the back of the skull with the arrow.
Right, and you see it happen. They show the arrow go through her head.
Yeah, she's sort of mid-rant at the point that the arrow goes through her eye. She's giving like a, Jerry Maguire-esque type mission statement about how she's going
Who's
to face
coming
her
with
fears.
me?
Yeah, and so that is exactly at the point where the arrow goes through her eye. And really, the episode did a nice job of, I felt like, bookending this, where you end up in the beginning of the episode, that Daryl and Carol conversation where they're talking about how Daryl should have killed those guys.
Right.
And it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's sort of interesting to have Carol thinking about that following the seemingly evolution of that character that we had last week, where we sort of got to understand Carol, and sort of we talked about on the feedback show whether or not she's able to be that person who can love and have these moments and make cookies and be a caretaker, but also do what she needs to do. But for Carol, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, quite a bit tonight, she really seems like she is a binary person where she can only be the mom or the murderer.
Yeah, full tilt or no tilt. And she feels like she can't afford to be full tilt for these people. So I don't know. We'll talk about her. Let's stick on Denise for a little while. So I mean, just to touch on it really briefly, it's an iconic comic book moment, someone getting shot in the head with an arrow mid-rant. It's a really great page that happens late in Walking Dead's run, close to issue 100. It does not happen to Denise. I won't say who it happens to. It happens to a different character. So that's a big shock tonight. This was something that I had been anticipating happening to somebody else. It did not happen to that person, so now I have no idea what's going to happen to that person. I certainly did not expect Denise to go out the way that she did. And I, first order of business as soon as I'm off this podcast is I'm going to try and track down a new video to see how that played out, because it was a really anticipated moment for me. How did it play out for you? Did you? What's your overall feeling? Did you like the scene? Are you shocked with the death? Are you disappointed?
I was very shocking because I did feel like that this whole point where Denise, if this was going to be an episode about the growth of the Denise character in terms of, that she's like, oh, okay, this is going to embolden me to tell Tara that I love her. I'm sort of like, boy, we only get so many Walking Dead episodes a year. I kind of feel like that this was, to me, a real missed opportunity to have something interesting happen as opposed to Denise. Right. And again, Denise with this soda. Pop, I'm sorry. But then, this sort of where everything sort of comes back together where, Daryl ends up running back into... is it Dwight?
Yeah, it's Dwight or D if you prefer.
Or D, yeah.
Depends on what you want to call
him. Probably, maybe D is not the operative word for him at this point in time.
Don't bring up D. It's a sore subject right now.
Very sore D.
Yeah.
So Dwight ends up coming back out of the woodwork, and he ends up saying,
talk about woodwork.
So he comes out of nowhere, and he is the person who says, again, I wasn't aiming for her. This character comes back. And again, I like this, how, this storyline, which really came up at the end of the first half of Season 6, we end up seeing more about that. So it was a really shocking moment, and the whole bit where he had Abraham, where he had Eugene,
right.
And then the bit where Eugene bit, a lot going on there.
A lot going on there for sure. The Denise thing, I think it's important to take it in context with Eugene, and these are parallel stories, as you mentioned, that Eugene has this story that's going on tonight about how I'm stage 2 now. I'm in stage 2 of my survival mode. I'm applying my advanced Dungeons and Dragons strategy to living in the Walking Dead universe. I'm going to be a badass now. I'm going to adapt to that. We see in certain situations it looks like he hasn't really adapted to that. Then we see him in the Dwight situation, and he really lives up. And I think with Denise, she's trying to do the same thing. This is supposed to be her stage 2 moment. It doesn't work out well for her. She's the one who's shot, and it's not really by any fault of her own, unless you want to say that her going looking for the pop was what led to her dying. I feel like that's probably pushing it. I think that it's a testament to the randomness of this world, and you can think that you're as prepared as ever, and you can really be ready to face this thing, and you can have all of the smarts and all the skills and all the courage on your side that you want, but still, out of nowhere, an arrow might just shoot you in the back of the head. That's the world that these people are living in. So we talk about how, was this worth spending a full episode of building up Denise's character for just to get her shot in the back of the head? It's a bit of a Shaggy Dog story. It's like that joke that's, the big setup about the kid who's going to tell people about this far-off country, and he keeps telling the principal, and the principal sends him to the president sends him to the king of the universe, and then he keeps coming back and back and back, and it's a really long, rambling story, and as he's on his way to finish the mission, he just gets hit by a car across the street, and the moral of the story is look both ways before you cross the street. It's one of those really awful, long, drawn-out jokes that just has this really brutal, mean punchline. It's like, why did I spend all my time on that? And it's kind of, a nihilistic thing to get you to wonder about the meaning of life, and I think it gets you to wonder about the meaning of life on The Walking Dead to have someone taken out in this way. I'm not wild that it's Denise. I'm not thrilled that they killed Denise in this way. I wish that it had happened to the person that it happens to in the comics. We'll talk about that more in the Walking Dead Book Club this week. But I think that that's the idea behind killing Denise the way that they do, while investing a lot in her story in that moment.
How much of this can we lay at the feet of Daryl? Because he really did not.
I think a lot.
Well, again, in addition to letting Dwight off the hook. And we talk about this so much on this show in regards to The Walking Dead. It really does feel like this universe, anytime our heroes give a character a second chance, or almost every single time that happens, it does not go well.
Right.
And this idea of what Morgan is preaching versus the idea of what we see in practice tends to favor not giving a second chance to all of these people that our characters have these run-ins with. That being said, when we have Denise saying, hey, I want to go out on a run with you guys, Daryl says no. Rosita says no. She somehow convinces them that she should go. She does not make it home alive. In hindsight, was it a huge mistake to bring Denise out on the run?
In hindsight, first off, still can't make the eye jokes. In hindsight, yeah, of course. She shouldn't have come out. There's indoors kids and there's outdoors kids. She was an indoors kid. She stays inside the walls of Alexandria. She's the doctor. She's super valuable. I don't know how you talk her out of going, because she seemed to really insist that I'm going to go to the apothecary. I want to be the one who does this thing. But, if Daryl had just said, like, look, don't even bother giving me a list. I'll just take everything that I find, then there's really no utility for her being out there.
Mm-hmm. Considering she is the doctor of Alexandria, yes. And I still don't know who patched up Eugene at the end of the episode.
Right, yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe just some field medicine from Abraham. As far as we know, the gynecologist or whoever, he's still
at Hilltop.
He's still at the Hilltop. So I feel like at least we have one doctor still in this universe. That's good news. But right now in Alexandria, they're without one. They, maybe some field medicine at best. But yeah, you gotta leave her behind. You can't let her do it. She's too valuable to this community. There has to be some sort of conversation where she is, told, like, you are, like, if we lose you, we are in so much trouble. We are in really, really bad shape. You are arguably the MVP of this community. We need you to be here. Some way to puff her up so that she feels good about staying in Alexandria all the time. But not a great call, letting her out on the road, as we saw. Very unfortunate stuff. And not to mention, she's killed with Daryl's weapon, so that's another thing you can throw at Daryl's feet.
Yeah, and again, it's Daryl's crossbow,
right.
Which you have to watch kill Denise right in front of him. So ultimately, we do see that we have this standoff with Dwight, and where he ends up having Eugene at gunpoint, and then with Abraham in tow. And it looks like that maybe for a second Eugene really threw Abraham under the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, he threw him under the bus. We know that Abraham and Eugene and buses, they go a ways back. So that would have worked out. But yeah, he says to Dwight, like, if you're gonna kill us, kill our friend who's over there first, because he's a real rat bastard.
First class a-hole, I believe.
First class a-hole. Yeah, that was really ridiculous. Knowing that the bite was coming. I figured that this was just a bit. I figured this was a ruse. But it was still a moment of alarm at the very least, that you don't know what's going to happen here with these guys and Abraham. But it got very tense very quickly.
I really came away wondering, how does Eugene not get killed in that altercation?
He's stage 2, bro.
I guess so.
Stage 2 badass.
I guess so. You would think that, if Dwight has one bullet in that gun before he's able to get away, you would think that Eugene is not making it alive after that one.
Thankfully, I've never been in Dwight's shoes in that situation, but I got to imagine that there's a level of shock, that there's a level of, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
That, would probably cause you not to react like normal people would react in that immediate moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you would think that also the other thing would be there would just be like a quick trigger reaction as well. So to speak. I don't know. I'm lost here, Rob. You got to help me out.
Yeah. Sort of at that, I guess you want to say at that point blank range, you're very,
right.
You're nervous about.
Oh, God.
Right.
It's so bad.
I don't know. Eugene, very ballsy move from.
Stop.
It was a very. A lot going on there.
A lot going on there for sure. Or maybe not. We don't know. It may have been just a little bit.
So let me just get this straight. So they carried Eugene all the way back to Alexandria?
Yeah, they did.
And then they made another trip to go back and get Denise's body?
I guess so. Yeah, they carried Eugene back like a duffel bag. It was like a duffel bag of Eugene.
Yeah, maybe they brought a car to go get Denise. I'm surprised that they did. Yeah, based on what happened to them with that ambush, you would think that that would not be a priority to go back and get Denise's body.
Right, but I think that, who knows how much time has passed at that point, and I think Daryl certainly feels beholden to Denise. I think that they had some version of a connection. We had seen that in the past few episodes, so he's not just going to leave her out there. Daryl does have a heart.
Okay. Well, let's talk through the Negan implications of all this.
I want to get your take on the return of Dwight and what you thought about all that.
Yeah, I mean that these guys really got the jump on everybody. And again, we come back with another really terrible deal in terms of, okay, hey, we're going to kill Abraham right now unless you bring us into your community and then let us take whatever we want and whoever we want.
Right.
Really, basically, trade us Abraham for everybody in your
Eugene,
community.
you mean, right? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eugene. Trade us Eugene for basically everything you have and everybody that you hold dear. I think at that point, say, okay, you could, kill Eugene.
Yeah. Well, how do they get themselves out of that situation then?
I don't. I think they just have to go down with the ship there. I mean, you present them with an alternative. It's not like, okay, we'll let you guys go once we, kill everybody in your group.
I think you at least got to play it out for a little while and see if you can get the drop on these guys. You're not just going to play ball with Dwight here.
Okay, so you're saying you say, okay, whatever you guys want, let's just go this way. And you sort of take them on a wild goose chase and never get them back to. Yeah. They seem to know where the camp is.
Right, but I feel like at least if you go along with them for a little while, maybe you buy yourself some time to come up with some alternate plan. I don't know. I feel like just to say, go, all right, you can have Eugene, then you're just gonna get shot in the face.
Yeah.
Next, so.
Okay. Well, good. That's. I'm glad you've thought these things out.
But I do think that the negotiation tactics here in the universe of The Walking Dead in the past few episodes we've seen maybe do need some work.
They needed Maggie. They needed Maggie out there.
That's why she's here, man. She's the diplomat. She knows what's up.
Yeah, it's not a good week to be the diplomat.
It's a bad week to be the diplomat for sure. Did you notice that Dwight looks a little different?
No. What's going on with Dwight?
Well,
Dwight. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he's got a very bad burn.
Yeah, he's become Two-Face.
Yeah. So was he there as part of the group with the explosion? What happened?
I don't know. I think that's TBD. I think it's TBD why he's suddenly showing up with half of his face horribly burned and scarred over at this point. Some time has passed. We know that at least since that encounter between Daryl and Dwight back in the first half of Season 6, it seems weeks, perhaps even a couple of months have passed, and who knows how much time was passing between last week's episode and this week's episode given the cold open. It's really hard to tell. It seems like at least 5 days, maybe a week. So this guy has had some time to heal. He's been away for a while. He was not in the scene where Daryl rocket launched the Saviors. That was not a thing. So however Dwight ended up not only being burned, but being so trigger happy and totally cool with the Negan thing is, I would imagine, a story that we're going to get a little bit more on at some point in the future.
Yeah, because refresh my memory with the first time around that he was not on board with the Negan thing unless he was just like a mole for Negan the first time around, right?
That seems like it would have been a long way to go for a double agent thing. It's not like he was infiltrating Daryl's group or anything like that. He was escaping with two young women. He was escaping with two ladies, trying to get away from Negan. He had, I think that he had said like he had given them he had left behind some sort of supply or something, as if that was going to be enough to buy his freedom. He gets, they almost get caught. One of the people in his group dies.
She has like diabetes or something, and then they like want to go to somebody's house, and like their parents are like in plastic or something like that.
Yeah, the greenhouse. The greenhouse had melted.
I didn't like that. That I did not love.
That was right around the time where we were like a little bit on the first half of this season. So that was that episode, and he ends up, Daryl thinks that he's helping this guy out. He thinks that he's offering him a chance, and he's doing his Alexandria recruitment drive thing, and Dwight seems like he's open to it, and then he just steals Daryl's crossbow and motorcycle and drives off. And get the sense that he is... I don't know if he was either going on his own or if he was returning back to Negan at that point. However that story ended for him, however that story continued, we now see that he is fully Team Negan and has no qualms about shooting a poor unarmed woman in the face with an arrow.
Yeah, that's right. And so we really find out, the Saviors are getting closer and closer and closer, and they're really trying to track down. It seems like they are aware of the Alexandria group and know where their house is or where that camp is.
Right.
It seems like that they were not even aware of Alexandria's existence the first time around. They are getting closer and closer.
Yeah, they're getting closer and closer. They're closing in on these guys, and that's no good. That's not great. And I gotta wonder, how much of this is the fault of Rick Grimes for escalating this situation, for going to war against Negan, for taking on this responsibility for the Hilltop and saying to the Hilltop, yeah, we want half your stuff, and we will kill Negan for you in exchange for that, and then we can be buddies. We can be best friends. And he has taken on this mission, and they shot everything that moved inside that compound. There's the big episode last week as well. He shoots Primo in the face, point-blank range, and thinks it's done. How much do we want to lay this at the feet of Rick, who is barely a character tonight, that this thing happened? We talk about, do we want to blame Denise on Daryl? How much do you want to blame this on Rick Grimes?
I don't blame anything on Rick Grimes.
You never do. He's your favorite. He's your boy.
Yeah, I am not. He is in no way Prick Grimes tonight.
Okay.
Because I say for Rick that the Negan thing was coming anyway. It's not like that. Negan was gonna say at some point, don't bother with Rick, guys. With Rick, he seems like a good dude. Let's not mess with him. If he doesn't mess with us, let's not mess with him. At some point, the saviors were coming for those guys. So while they might have poked the bear or poked the beehive a little bit,
yeah,
at some point they were coming for them. At least they got the jump on them, and who knows how many saviors there are. But they are a weaker group of saviors tonight than they were 2 weeks ago.
But they're also an angrier group.
They are angrier, but at some point they still were going to come along and attack Alexandria. At least they went on the offensive, and maybe they have a chance that the saviors are weakened to beat them, as opposed to sit around and wait to be attacked when they're at their most vulnerable. So I like I don't know where in terms of Sun Tzu we can say that Rick Grimes is following the art of war, but I say good on Rick Grimes so far.
Good on Rick Grimes so far. I still feel like he could use a couple of Aikido lessons from Morgan. To the point that Rick's real scene in this episode is going into Morgan's project, which we now know Morgan is building a jail cell. And he's like, why? He's asking him the third question. He's not even bothering with the first two. And Morgan's like, so we have choices next time. And Rick basically looks at him like he's got 1,000 heads.
Yeah. So he has some options next time. So this is going to be good. So maybe you feel like that maybe at some point we end up with some prominent bad guy in this jail cell talking through with Rick.
It's not impossible. I know maybe it's Morgan's rehab clinic. I feel like that could be a fun episode of the show. So we'll see. We'll see how that bears out. But I still just feel like Rick really took this thing from 6 to midnight, and here we are. And who knows? Who knows if the Saviors would have found him? They probably would have. But it's a testament to the ugliness of this world. This is a really bad world. This is what happens in this place. You fight. It's not just the walkers, as this show is constantly reminding you. The people are arguably much, much worse.
And I will also say, just one more time in defense of Rick, that it really seems like this all started, forget the Hilltop, this started at the point where Daryl ends up getting into this altercation with Dwight, and then at the point where he blows up those guys that capture him and Abraham and Sasha with the bazooka, then that's the point I think that they really become aware of Rick's groups. That I think that's when word starts to get back about this Alexandria group, and then they start to. I think and then at the point where the Hilltops part of the story comes into play, they know that these are the guys that got into that blew up our other guys.
Right. Yeah, they start to piece it together. So I don't know, inevitable collision course with these groups. It definitely seems like the Saviors are not going down as easily as some of the other people that Rick has fought in the past.
All right, let's talk about the Carol thing, because I think that's our other big story tonight, where Carol has left the group once again. Here she goes again on her own.
Yeah.
She's going down the only road that she's ever known.
Yeah, like a drifter.
Yeah.
She was born to walk alone. Yeah, Carol has left the building. Carol is out. Carol is resuming her season 4 storyline. Now it's self-imposed exile. Yeah.
Poor Tobin.
It sucks for Tobin. Difficult situation for Tobin. I'm sure he's heartbroken.
Yeah. All right. So for Carol, we talked about this last week. Let's put this all into perspective, this Carol story of Carol comes into Alexandria. She ends up, donning the mother disguise, or she's baking cookies. She sort of reclaims that piece of her.
Right.
We thought that this is going to be a positive thing for her. Last week's episode, we end up with all of the storyline that's going on with her and Paula and how they're kindred spirits and how Paula lost track of all the people that she ended up killing. And then we end up with, then she is able to, kill those guys in the kill room, and she's not okay. That's how the episode ended, and she's clinging onto that rosary. And then tonight we see her again doing the rosary, smoking cigarettes, and by the end of the episode she leaves Alexandria for good.
She leaves Alexandria for good, and I got to be honest, I know that last week was a big Carol showcase, and even the week before that, Carol was heavily present on the show. She's been kind of in and out. When she's off the show, she's super off, and when she's on, she's all the way. Just like how the character herself has basically two speeds, 0 and 60. She basically, that's the way that they treat her on the show in terms of using her on the show. I wish that she had had a little bit more of an active story tonight. At the very least, had eyes on the Denise thing, had been able to see it, had been able to witness that, had been able to experience that encounter. Because I feel like, I don't know, for her to leave after the events of this episode, if last week had ended with Carol being like, peace out, I'm done, that would have made sense. But for me, she just didn't have much to do tonight. So I was a little taken aback by that. But in terms of this being the progression for her character, she smells war in the air. She smells the blood in the air. It's out. These people are coming after each other, and she is very war weary at this point. She is double digits in her kill count. She's broken past 20 at this point. I don't think that she wants to hit 30, and she knows that if she sticks around and goes to war, she's going to go to that place. She's gonna kill 50 new people. She's going to add 50 numbers to her list. And she's done with that. And I don't know what she thinks she's going to be able to accomplish by going out on the road. It's rough out there. She's going to have to survive and fend for herself, and that's probably going to involve some serious situations, unless she's basically saying, like, I'll take my chances, and if I get there and it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and at least my blood isn't on your guys' hands anymore. But she's done. She's done with the fighting, at least for right now.
See, I had a little bit of a different read on that, but I felt like that she had to leave because she felt like that staying there with Tobin in Alexandria, I felt like that she might have been feeling like she's getting soft, and she can't have both of those things. She can't be that same person who's making cookies and then also killing, because I kind of feel like that out on the road, isn't she going to be doing, having to do anything to survive, the almost like a JSS mentality, where she's going to end up having to fend for herself a lot more? Or you think it's just that the act of she being a soldier in this war is something she can't bring herself to do?
Yeah, I think she doesn't want to. I think that she wants to avoid extraordinary amounts of bloodshed. I think that she's done with that. I don't think that she wants any more lives on her hands. And she's saying that she can't just hang back in this situation and be the den mother. She doesn't have that in her if war is raging around her as well, with all these people that she cares about. She's gotta hoof it. She's gotta leave town. And in that case, I think that she's, trusting her abilities to fend for herself out there, and hopefully not have to kill again, maybe be killed in the process, and that will bring her some measure of peace in her eyes. But she doesn't want to go to war, and she knows if she hangs around, she will. I think another possible read on it is, like, did she leave to take care of this thing solo? Like, is she going to be Rambo Carol again, and she's just going to Sarah Connor the Terminus compound the way that she did back in Season 5? Is that what she's planning for the Saviors?
No, that's not necessarily the read that I had on that either. I think that a really important shot in the episode was the episode closed on Morgan, and it was Morgan looking at the swing,
right.
And you just heard the swing creaking back and forth, back and forth. And I wonder how much of this do we tie back to Morgan, where him and Carol had seemingly been at odds at the start of the season. Has Carol fully bought into the Eastman philosophy, and is that how she's going out there to go ahead and try to live her life as somebody who is not killing any living thing? Walkers, sure, yes, but somebody who can't be killing for sport anymore.
Right. Possibly. I think that could be the case. I think she's certainly closer to that philosophy than she has basically ever been, or at least has been since, mid-season 3. That is really sort of the shift in Carol's character to being kind of a cold-blooded killer. That's when she suggests to Andrea, how about you stab the governor while you have sex with him? That would be easy enough to do. And basically since then, she's just been, this badass who's capable of all of these things. We've wondered, is she going to move towards Morgan's philosophy? Is there a middle ground between Rick and Morgan that maybe Carol can explore? I think that this is a further evolution of that. I think that she's probably closer to Morgan than Rick right now. I still feel like she will find some way to have this Den Mother thing and be Rambo at the same time. I hope so anyway, because that's the best version of the character.
Do you think we see Carol again here in season 6?
I don't know. It's possible that we don't. It's totally possible that she just shuffles off and we don't see her again until season 7. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't be mad at that. Give us a little bit of mystery of where's Carol at. I think that that's kind of a cool ingredient to have in the world. What do you think?
I'll tell you what I would not like is if the Saviors come, invade Alexandria, hold everybody captive, and it's Carol who comes in and saves the day, a la Terminus. I feel like that's the same exact thing that happened to Terminus.
Yeah, but that was so awesome.
It was awesome, but you can't have that be the same plot device again.
Why
where
not?
Everybody gets captured and then Carol ends up getting.
How
the
many
jump on
nuclear
everybody.
bombs did Jack Bauer disable? Why can't Carol come back and just save them every single time? Why not? I vote for Carol Pelletier being the savior of Alexandria. I'm all in on that.
Don't say saviors. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So many faux pas tonight.
Okay. What else do we need to spill the Pintos on tonight, Josh?
Well, there was two new relationships that we should discuss.
Yeah.
I don't know if Denise was trying to make a Daryl Rosita thing happen, but it was fruitless because I guess Rosita is getting her beef stroganoff on with Spencer.
Yeah, the beef stroganoff.
Beef jerky
beef
stroganoff.
jerky stroganoff. Yeah. I'm not gonna go there with any other beef jerky references or puns.
Beef yum stroganoff.
Yeah. So yeah, Spencer and Rosita. I know you hate Spencer, right? So
My
you're
favorite
not
character on the show.
You're not in on what are we calling that? Spencita?
Spencita? Sure. That's exactly what we're calling it. Whatever. If it makes them happy, have at it, kids. It's fine. Just don't have too much of it on My Walking Dead if we can avoid it.
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay, well, I thought that was really out of nowhere.
It was out of absolutely nowhere. It was completely out of nowhere. Some time has passed, so who knows? But yeah, out of nowhere. Good luck with that stroganoff. I hope it's a nice night. And also, it seems that Sasha is thumbs up on Abraham. She's good. She's good to go with this. She invited him inside.
So yeah, she says, "Come on in." So we'll see ultimately what happens with Abraham and Sasha. And yeah. Abraham just has such weird timing on these things.
Why? What was weird about it?
It just feels like that he came back from this mission where Denise ended up getting killed, and it's just like this is the move. This is the time I gotta go ahead and make my move on Sasha. It just seems like you think he'd be kind of shaken up about things, but I guess maybe he overheard the Denise's final words about, hey, if you love somebody, don't wait around. That's the crazy thing. Not waiting, not telling somebody you love them when you feel that way.
He was stressed out, he was very close to death out there. He was, in a big firefight, and things could have gone another way, and so he comes back, he's like, I'm not taking any chances anymore. Let's do this. Yeah. It's game time, Sasha. And Sasha's like, yeah, totally, I'm in.
Okay, are you in? You're in on shipping Abraham and Sasha?
I like both of those characters a lot. I'm still mad at Abraham for how he treated Rosita. That was a crappy thing of him to do. But if Abraham and Sasha are happy, then I'm happy as well. And they can.
What are we calling them?
Abrahaha. I don't know.
Abrahaha.
I don't know.
And then also Eugene. We saw both him and Denise both claim that they're ready for the next level. Both claim to be going into stage 2. Eugene
claimed or dibbed? They called dibs. That's the new claimed, right?
Dibbed, yeah. And so we have a debate between Abraham and Eugene about whether or not Eugene is ready. Ultimately, I guess it would seem as though Eugene is ready. but not based on the altercation he had with the Walker, with a helmet on?
Yeah, well, it looked like it had like some melted lead on its head or something like that. It's like think back to a certain episode of season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yes, he wanted one of the Walkers to crown him. Was that what he was asking for?
A crown for a king.
Yeah, and so ultimately that was a big problem for Eugene. I did like that scene though between Eugene and Abraham, where Eugene's talking about how he's going to make the bullets.
That's cool. That's a cool prospect, right? I mean, bullets are, like he said, that's the new currency in this world. That's the gold standard, is who's got a full clip of ammo. So he wants to take care of that. I would like to see that happen. That would be pretty awesome.
Don't you think that Eugene was a big douche to Abraham, though, in that scene?
I do.
What's his problem?
I love Eugene, but bad timing, first of all. Well, he's had his history with Abraham, and Abraham did knock him out cold once upon a time, about a season and a half ago at this point. So you can't begrudge him for having bad blood with Abraham to a certain extent, but bad timing, man. You're out on the road. You need Abraham to get back. You're not that's stage 3 to go back out on your own. You're just stage 2. Don't get cocky yet.
Yeah. Now, did you feel like part of it was that Eugene is Team Rosita?
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. He's certainly been Rosita's friend. He had his thing with Abraham as well. Those 3 were a tight unit for a while, and now, I think that he's probably Team Rosita on that.
Yeah. So ultimately, we'll see what this new Abraham is going to look like now that he's reached stage 2.
Yeah. Eugene.
I'm sorry, Eugene and Abraham. I keep.
Well, it's easy to confuse them now, right? Because he's a stage 2 badass.
That's right. That's right.
Eugene's new Abraham.
Yeah, and really, Abraham gets the best dialogue on this show.
I know.
Time after time. That really.
Bill Pintos was really good.
Really, really good. All right, you want to jump into some of these questions? I'm sure a lot of feedback already tonight about this very strong Walking Dead episode.
Rob, that is exactly what I would like to do.
All right, let's get it fired up. All right, why don't you start here with Carlos V.
All right, here's what Carlos says. So looking back on it now, still a good idea to bring your doctor on scavenging missions? No, it's not. It's a bad idea, Carlos. These guys really screwed it up. Bad call.
I mean, not to nitpick things too much. Also, bad idea to split up also over a disagreement about who is going to, which way is shorter. I'll go this way, I'll go this way.
Just go the long way! If that's what Daryl wants to do, just do what Daryl wants.
Yeah, I think motion to sort of like have a commanding officer on these away missions where one person makes the call and then you just have to go with whatever somebody says. Well, if you want to do that, then I'll go this way.
Yeah.
I also liked it when Denise is like, hey, there's a cooler over there. And Daryl's like, hey, we got what we came for. That's it. Let's move on. Yeah, why didn't you think of that when you were driving the van full of stuff when Jesus swings by?
Let it go. Leave it alone.
I was like, hey, I learned my lesson with that.
Yeah. Vader Girl has a comment that says, Rob, you were right again. Tyson Apostle is king of all media. How the heck does he not only win Survivor podcast with you on Mondays, but now he is killing Denise with Daryl's arrows? Not cool, Tyson. Not cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that Dwight looks like Tyson?
Not anymore.
Dwison.
Not anymore. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So.
This is a good point from Will Northrup. But Daryl got his crossbow back.
Yeah, he did. So we'll see if Daryl is able to make good use of it. He got his motorcycle back, got his crossbow back, so not going to get Denise back.
Yeah, he's not going to get Denise back.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Was that worth gaining your crossbow back for? I guess it's your iconic weapon, but I feel like the shotgun was working. That was going okay.
Okay. Let's take a Twitter question from Umberto, who wants to say, is Carol playing possum again, and what is she truly doing? Is she scouting the Saviors on her own?
I don't think it's impossible that she's scouting the Saviors on her own, but in terms of like trying to get one over on her own people, that's where I would be confused in terms of why would she decide to go off on her own and tell people not to come after her when like she would actually want them to come after her? So I don't know. I feel like I'm buying Carol's message right now. I think that she very authentically is just like, I'm going to be on my own. Don't come after me.
Now,
I don't think anyone's going to follow that. But What's
Do you
that?
think next week's episode is going to be all about then they go after Carol? Is that what's coming up?
The search for Carol?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be
Star
a
Trek
piece.
3?
I think it's going to be a piece of it, yeah.
She said, "Don't come after me."
I know, but I think it's going to be part of it. I think that we're going to see these people they value Carol quite a bit. So I would be shocked if they weren't going after Carol.
Okay.
All right, this is from Cat G. Cat G says, thoughts on Carol heading to Hilltop?
Why?
I feel like heading to Hilltop, she's going to get discovered pretty fast. Like, the Hilltop's going to be like, hey, Alexandria, we got your Carol. We found her.
Yeah, I think that she doesn't want to be part of somebody who's killing. I mean, the line she says, I can't love anyone because I can't kill for anyone. She can't bring herself to be a killer anymore, and that's why she can't be in these relationships with Tobin and with the people from Alexandria. So right. I can't imagine it's going to be any different at Hilltop.
Yeah, I agree. Just to go back to the Star Trek thing, Spicy Wasabi had said, would you consider Denise a red shirt?
No, I would not. I think that she really earned her place as a. I mean, a red shirt is a character that we just don't know their name. It's sort of like they just show up in like one episode, or sort of like a background character that it's not. You don't care anything when they end up dying, and none of our main characters care when those characters die. So Denise was definitely not a red shirt.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe more of a Tasha Yar.
That's a little bit of a different story. That would be a Tasha Yar would be come up with somebody.
She kind of got sludge monstered, right?
Yeah, come up with somebody who was, that would be like Shane would be like Tasha Yar.
That's a Tasha Yar. Yeah. I don't know. Here's from Amanda Fallon. What is the significance of Morgan getting the last shot during the Carol voiceover?
I think it was because that the Morgan virus has infected Carol.
Yeah. Oh my God. So are we all infected?
Yeah. No, I think that it really spoke to her. I think that these two characters who they started the season, they're diametrically opposed. At mid-season, they're really like coming to blows over this. You had that. I think there was significance to the fact that it was Morgan was trying to save the wolf. Carol is the one who inadvertently killed the wolf after Denise had sort of like, and again, if you triangulate Morgan, Denise, and Carol, the thing that connects them is that wolf that Carol ends up killing. And I think really from that point on, Carol, I think, so it's something, they didn't give a lot of significance to it on the show, but I think it was important that it was Carol who killed that wolf.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that was a turning point for her. That's when
I think it was.
Yeah, that's when she starts thinking like, oh, maybe I've got this wrong. Especially because this was the person that Morgan was protecting.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees this guy. Oh, and this is actually interesting. She kills this guy she shoots this guy who then gets eaten by walkers as he is dedicating his last living breath to protecting Denise. She kills a person who was willing to save Denise. Now Denise is dead. The whole thing feels a lot more nihilistic to her. Probably, I can see how that would be a tipping point for her, with Denise being the person who died tonight, in terms of being like, yeah, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. What do you think about the smoking for Carol?
Yeah, I kind of thought that she wasn't gonna keep doing that, but she's into it. She loves it. She's into it. She's guilty remnant.
Yeah, I do think that there is a little bit of guilty remnant to it, where it's like
smoke to remember.
Smoke to remember, and the remembering is tough for Carol.
Yeah, I think
tough
so.
right now. Okay, yeah. Our friend Hugh wants to say, I was pretty relieved that Denise bit the dust. Did you guys think that her entire character was pretty forced? How dare you, Hugh?
Yeah, and first of all, it was Eugene that bit the dust.
No, that was something different. D.
No, that's what it was named. No, I don't think so. I am Team Denise. I love Denise. I thought Denise was a great character. I really liked the performance. I thought Merritt Weaver was great. I'm really bummed to see her go the way that she went. I'm not a huge fan of the call, I will be honest.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That must listen podcasting coming up on the Walking Dead Book Club this week.
We'll see. It should be a good time.
I feel like maybe a rant is coming.
No, probably not a ton of rants. I think especially for story reasons, I feel like there was another way to go. This is from Carlos, who says, thoughts on the latest twist in the Walking Dead mini thing during the commercial. I know it's Josh's favorite. I fast forwarded through that. Did you catch what happened on the Flying Dead?
Oh, you want me to give it away? You want me to spoil it?
It's just a minute, Rob.
Yeah. Well, they killed the flight attendant.
Oh, good for them.
They killed the flight attendant, so we'll see. But the window is broken.
Oh, wow. So things are happening on the Flying Dead.
The broken windows theory on the Fear the Walking Dead plane.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Let's take another question from Twitter. Cabin Douche had a few. Wants to know about are the toddler shoes foreshadowing? What'd you make of what was going on in the what was
Yeah.
that place called? The
The
apothecary?
apothecary, yeah, and there was in the room there was the guy with the foot cast, and it certainly seemed like he ate the baby. That was really rough.
Ate the baby.
It seemed like it, right? That was kind of my impression, that there was like this changing table that was covered in blood, and there was just like shoes left back
Yeah,
there.
I know. I think maybe he just killed the baby.
I don't know. Maybe he killed the baby. Maybe he killed
Hush,
the
hush,
baby
hush.
and then ate the baby after. Hush, 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 indeed. Is that foreshadowing something? That's pretty grimdark if it is, but this is The Walking Dead, and it's not impossible. We know that there's at least baby Judith is in this world. Maggie's prego. So yeah. I don't know. I'd be nervous.
I didn't take it as any sort of foreshadowing. I just thought it was like that. It was a way to, show Denise like pretty much the most, revolting thing she could potentially be seeing in there, and just Denise, you're not ready for this.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? I do want to say I think that Denise by the end of the episode was. I don't know if she was quite stage 2, but I would give her like stage 1.5 at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she's taken out by randomness. I don't think it's like she's taken out by any fault of her own. And I think if she doesn't get the arrow to the eye, and if Dwight's aim is a little better and Daryl or Rosita is the one who goes, then I feel like Denise has a fighting chance of sticking around for a little while.
Yeah. I do think that philosophically, though, I think there is something to discuss in terms of, the show and the worldview that we're supposed to take away from watching The Walking Dead. And we have a character who stops in the middle of this ultra dangerous environment to give a speech about how it's all about love. And the most dangerous thing that she is doing is not telling the person that she cares about that she loves them. And as she's delivering this soliloquy, she ends up with an arrow in the back of her head at the time when she's not concerning herself with surviving. She's giving some sort of a speech that you might see in some romantic comedy.
Right. Well, I feel like maybe The Incredibles doesn't exist in the universe of The Walking Dead. Otherwise, they would know no monologuing.
No monologuing, Denise.
You don't monologue.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's take some more questions. Will Northrup, I'm 1,000% certain Carol is going to get nabbed by Negan's crew.
That's not a bad bet. I mean, 1,000% is a lot. But I feel like you could see that would be interesting. She was just captured by Negan's crew, though.
Hey, prick.
Yeah.
Prick Grimes, are you there? We got Carol again.
Yeah, Carol again. She's back.
Yeah, we're not going to get tricked this time.
No. Yeah, so I don't know. I could see it, though. I think that there could be interesting story opportunities there. Carol's a big unknown in terms of my knowledge of the story with the comics. She's a completely different person, so whatever happens with her next, really shrug your shoulders. But the Negan thing is as good a guess as anything right now.
Okay. This is from Dave Backer on Twitter. Any significance to the frequent use of POV shots and odd fades in tonight's Walking Dead open?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of confused by that open. I think it was really just to show that things are a little routine in Alexandria right now. That the days are blending together a little bit. Things are pretty calm at the moment after they had killed the saviors, and this is what's at stake. Is mundane life is at stake right now. This is what they've been fighting for. Is just a little bit of tranquility and just being able to go about your day, looking at how much hot sauce you've got in the garage, and so to speak, and literally on the show. That's what she was doing. So I feel like that was the point of that, and maybe sort of like the wobbliness of it is to indicate that there's some wonky, weird stuff coming our way. Certainly seems that way by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I thought that really what they were going for there is just to try to show that this is days and days following the events of the last episode, and Carol's still not okay. She's still, dealing with this and still going through the rosary, still has not gone back to the Carol that we expect to see in Alexandria, and I think that was sort of just like setting up her exit at the end of the episode.
Yep, I think so, Rob.
Okay. All right, Josh. You got a hashtag for tonight?
I don't have any big ones. Yeah. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. I have. Let's see. I had Spencita.
Spencita.
I had that written down. Do you got anything?
Dusty.
Dusty. Yeah. We can go with hashtag Dusty works for me.
There you go. All right. Well, that's
Oh.
the dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one
All
bites
right.
the dust.
All right, fun show tonight, and we got only 2 hours left here of The Walking Dead. Walking Dead live on Easter next week?
Yeah, listen, I'm Jewish, so I've got nothing going on.
There you go. All right, we'll discuss all the Easter eggs in next week's episode. 1 week from tonight as we go along here, 2 weeks from the finale, and of course, Josh is going to have the Walking Dead Book Club, and we'll be back later on during the week with your feedback. Send us your questions. twd@postshowrecaps.com or postshowrecaps.com/voicemail.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. On top of all of that stuff, we also have Daredevil podcasts that are starting up here. Let me just announce that. By the time we are done recording this, Rob, my next course of action is to post that Daredevil podcast. So I'm going to be getting to work on that very soon. Daredevil Season 2 premiered on Friday. Kevin Mahadeo, my co-host, and I are going to be recapping every single episode. Every weekday we will have a new podcast until I think it's going to be about April 6th. So stay tuned for that. postshowrecaps.com/iTunes. If you are watching Daredevil, we are doing it one episode at a time. Very exciting stuff.
All right, and then this Monday I'll be back to talk about Better Call Saul with Antonio Mazzaro. Just finished our final episode of House of Cards Season 4. All that and much, much more at postshowrecaps.com. You can subscribe at postshowrecaps.com/iTunes or search Post Show Recaps in your favorite podcatcher. All right. Anything else, Josh?
Nope.
Fun show. Nice to be back with you tonight. Alex Kidwell did a great job these
I
last 2 weeks.
love you, Alex. You're the best. You're the man.
Yeah, filling in for us. You did a great job with your questions tonight, and we'll be back to talk more Walking Dead later this week. Take care, everybody.